tip of the day. If you are having issues with bulk fermentation or the timing of that, you're gonna wanna watch this video. The more starter you use in your initial mix, the faster fermentation goes. Less starter means slower fermentation. Every recipe is different. Some recipes call for 150 grams of starter per loaf. Some recipes call for 50 grams of starter per loaf. That 50 grams of starter per loaf is going to take way longer to ferment than the loaf that had 150 grams of starter in the initial mix. And there are a couple other important factors when it comes to fermentation timing. And I can't stress this one enough. The temperature of your home plays a huge role in fermentation timing. If you are in a really hot and humid environment, your home is really warm, fermentation timing is gonna go a lot faster than if you were in a colder, drier climate and your home runs really cold. That's why our bread tends to ferment a lot faster in the summer than it does in the winter, which is why I shared that thermal heating mat video. If you do have a colder home or during the winter months, it's the perfect little mat to put your starter jar on when you go to feed it to help it rise or rise quicker. You can also stick your bowl of dough on it to help that get to the perfect temperature to help it rise. Sourdough prefers temperatures between 75 and 82. So if your home is a lot colder than that, it doesn't mean that your dough won't rise. It'll just take longer to rise. So if you have a really cold home, I highly recommend getting that heating mat. Certain types of flours also have an effect on fermentation timing. So flours that are richer in enzymes like rye flour or wholemeal flour will ferment a lot faster than all-purpose flour or bread flour. Okay, and last but not least, if you have a weak starter or maybe a brand new starter you just created, maybe it's not even established yet, that could be why fermentation timing is taking so long, and it could be why you're not seeing your dough rise. So make sure you have a strong, healthy starter and you're feeding it good feeding ratios. If you only feed or have ever fed with a 1-1-1 feeding ratio, maybe your starter is getting too acidic and it's starting to affect your dough. So I always recommend at the very least a 1-to-2-to-2 ratio. And if you're having issues with your starter, maybe it's super sluggish, it's not rising like it used to, give it a higher feed ratio. It may really be needing that larger feed ratio, so I recommend like a 1-to-4-to-4 ratio or even like a 1-to-5-to-5 ratio. I would feed it that way on the counter for a few days in a row to get it back to where it needs to be. Also, if you like a more sour loaf, you're gonna wanna use less starter in your initial mix because it'll take longer for your dough to ferment, which will give your dough time to develop that sour flavor. So guys, I hope this helped. If you have any other questions, leave them down in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them.